Give me that neck. I'm pretty sure the currency the skull takes is neck. Why'd he slam it in there so hard? Man, what's up with y'all? I've been playing some old games, and a game that caught my eye was God of War 1. I used to play this game all the time at my cousin's house and never actually finished it. So I decided to give it a playthrough and finish it. And this game is actually a masterpiece in my eyes. I think this game is actually better articulated than most games are articulated in 2020. And that's saying something. And I'm not saying all games nowadays are trash or nothing like that, but I'm just saying that they lack in articulation and design. This game came out in 2005, and I googled games that came out in 2005, and there was low-key, not even low-key, there was a lot of good games that came out in 2005. But of all the games that came out in 2005, I think God of War is definitely in the cream of the crop. If somebody was to tell you to put in some heat from a game from 2005 into your console, there's a good chance that they put God of War into your PS2 and said, yo, this is heat. So let's talk about this game and let's figure out why I think this game is straight up heat, especially for the time it came out. Straight off the back, everybody knows this is a brutal, bloody, action-packed game. It has gore, it's over the top, nudity, and all that type of stuff. And they weren't scared to do anything when they made this game because they knew what they made was heat. So let's talk about the combat, because that's definitely what this game specializes in, and it's what it does the best. I played this game on the hardest difficulty that you're able to play at the beginning, and to be honest, it challenges you too. A lot of people compare difficulty in gaming to Dark Souls, but honestly, if you play these other games on their hardest difficulties and harder difficulties, you get just about the same experience. The combat is so fun in this game, and it has base attacks, and it has moves that launch your enemies up, moves that bounce your enemies, and then when you combine it with all the magic and all your other skills in the game, you can start to pull off like very good saucy combos. These combos become so visually appealing, it's like, man, I know I'm putting it on you, bro.
Killer combo! Ultra combo! Whoopee!
I realized that these are the same mechanics fighting games actually use, and I was actually always trying to figure out how I can extend my combos or make them even longer and do more damage with all the abilities that they give you into the game. One of my favorite games of all time is Assassin's Creed 2, and one thing I really love about that game is the counter kill mechanic. But I replayed God of War 1 and I was like, this game already had the counter parry mechanics in the game. Games like Batman Arkham Asylum and Assassin's Creed really made that counter parry mechanic system really mainstream when it came to these 3D beat 'em ups or hack and slashes. But God of War 1 already had it in the game. One thing about the AI for some of these enemies in God of War is they like to surround you, and one thing with Kratos' moves is he has moves that either go straight in front of him or he has moves that will cover his whole body or go almost all around him. So it best be wise to figure out what combos end with hit stun or wrap around your body, depending on what type of enemy you're fighting. It's definitely worth to mess around with your other weapons and all your magic abilities to figure out what type of combos you're able to pull off. Medusa, what that face do? This game came out when QuickTime events were new and refreshing and everybody loved them before they became overused. And one thing with God of War is it gave you a reason to do QuickTime events, such as if you performed a QuickTime event, you can execute your enemy and get magic orbs or leveling up orbs. These QuickTime events were very interactive, and the animations behind them were cool and brutal too to see. But you did not have to do them. You could just use a regular move to kill your enemy. The combat is definitely what this game does best, but I think one of the most underlooked things are the other elements in this game that truly make it a masterpiece, and that's the design and articulations. Fighting definitely gets old after a while if you consistently keep doing it. And one thing God of War does to keep fighting fresh is they give you platforming sections and they give you puzzles to do to give the player a nice pacing with the game. These platforming sections give a player a new camera angle to look at Kratos, and some require a little bit of puzzling, patience, if it's more like an obstacle course. I can't lie, this blade pillar had me messed all the way up. When you do encounter enemies on these platforming sections, the game does give you new attacks and new animations to look at while you fight them. This game actually makes you wander around to figure out what to do sometimes, but it doesn't do it often, unlike the older Tomb Raider games. This game gives you puzzles too, and they give you a great variety of puzzles that actually make you think too. I'm not gonna lie though, if you're not a person who likes to do puzzles in video games, then God of War's puzzles might make you a little irritated. Even I had to look up a couple of puzzles online. The other God of War games definitely toned down the puzzles, and I don't blame them for that. One thing about God of War is the game design is so good that it has connected areas to make the game feel more open than what it really is. And the levels lead you back into a central area that you need to go into that you wouldn't even think is connected with each other. The game actually rewards you for exploring too. You might go off in this random corridor for no reason and get rewarded with 3 chests just because you went down that way. The game definitely knows how to make itself look good and to capitalize on certain events through camera angles that's happening within the game. Every time you go to a new area, the game likes to have certain camera angles to really highlight the new area and to make it very iconic based on how it was introduced. Making the final boss appear to be like a classic fighter too was a very nice touch. Though the story might not have been told as good as it could have, like in God of War 2018. They still tell the story good in a different way, such as, you know, Kratos done all those horrible things, and then here I am fighting the Cyclops in Athens, and I have to kill random innocent people running for their lives to get some health so I don't die, making me feel like a bad Spartan. Or all the other times that you actually have to kill someone just to progress into the game. I really like the game's enemy designs too. I feel like they are all really creative, and not just the design, but when you fight them and then you get into the quick time events with them, they all have their unique animations. Some of these enemies actually have multiple death animations too, which is a very creative touch. Let me talk about some of the flaws that are within this game too. When you have to press circle to do your execution, sometimes it just doesn't work. I don't know what it is, but it hardly ever happens, but it does happen sometimes. I have noticed that when you parry moves and you have it perfectly timed, sometimes the game doesn't give it to you, but that hardly ever happens either, so. But I will say sometimes this game just has parts that are hard and annoying for no reason. I think the biggest thing would be if you're a regular gamer and you don't play puzzle games like that. This game has some puzzles that kind of do too much. And I can easily see people saying the puzzles in this game definitely took from their experience. But if you do like puzzle games and you play this, you will have a blast. The game definitely has flaws, but the flaws aren't consistent, so I still consider this game to be a masterpiece. Or pretty goddamn near close to a masterpiece. That's all I'll settle for at the very least. You know, with this game's great combat mechanics, puzzles, exploration, pacing, platforming, and interconnected levels, this game is clearly made by people who understand game design. Something that the gaming industry seems to have forgotten how to do within today's standards as a whole. So I'm probably going to end up playing the other God of War games. Maybe I'll do an analysis series on my channel. Maybe I just might review the games. If you like content like this, check out the channel. And if you're new here, I'm going to need you to do one thing, and that's vibe out.